is Nkusi Gerald, an eco-warrior, adventurer, promoter of diversity, a youth ambassador for climate change, and a passionate travel guide in Africa. We talk about the challenge that people don't necessarily see the benefit of conservation and the ways we can adapt to the changing climate, turning challenges into opportunity, such as Nkusi is doing working on food security. We talk about how he crossed Uganda on foot, learning about conservation methods and his dream to have people in Uganda plant 5 million trees by 2030. And he reveals the connection between Uganda and Orlando. Nkusi then leaves with an inspiring message of teaching the young about literally taking care of the earth by taking care of our soil, the Terra, la Tierra. Stay tuned. I think you'll like this episode. And if you could, can you please share with a friend? This is how we're going to grow our podcast. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy it. Hello, Nkusi. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. So you are in Uganda right now, correct?
Yes, I'm in Uganda, in the southwestern part of Uganda.
That's awesome. Before we start, I would like to see if you can share with us a prayer or a meditation, something for us to ground and to create that connection to the earth.
All right, let's go. Sometimes taking one tiny step at a time is more than enough. Sometimes slowing down just to feel the wind blow against you is the beauty of life right there. Wonder, be unsure when it is natural to be. Let yourself breathe. We are all rushing for no reason anyway.
Amen. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So you are in southwestern Uganda. How was growing up in an area that is considered one of the most beautiful landscapes?
When I was growing up in Uganda, in my home area, the southwestern Kigezi region, which is one of the most beautiful parts of Uganda, life was not the way I see it now. Growing up and living in such a rural environment, of course, I was not sure of what life would bring to me. So life was very, very uncertain. I went to school from here, the same area I grew up from, and it was a real struggle. And finding my purpose took me almost like 2 decades. But thank goodness I realized that my calling of saving Mother Earth and serving humanity, which I now do, and of course, which I intend to do for the rest of my life. So my passion and love for nature has exposed me to unlimited opportunities in the world adventure, which I should always be grateful for, has made me to appreciate more of this small area where I've grown from and lived.
Nkusi, that's very important that you said that once you found your passion for conservation, for protecting Mother Earth, it kind of gave you a sense of purpose. And how did that start? How did you get your beginning with conservation work?
Beginning with conservation work, of course, growing up, going to the school, finding no job, coming back, looking at the challenges. Of course, we had no opportunities, but all challenges. One of the biggest challenge was the dying environment, everything being cut down, seeing what was planted and spared by our grandfathers, and everything was lost. The indigenous values, the knowledge, the traditional food, all being lost. I felt as one of the people who were already being affected by the same challenge, I felt I should be part of the solution to the biggest challenges in my community, of course, which really affected us most in terms of food security. So I started learning and teaching myself as I consult people, especially about what one can do to save our environment. I didn't know much. I did not study in school conservation science or environment or anything of the sort. But my growing love really coupled with the challenges that I went through to study and to live, in my area. It helped me to really come back and do something for my community. So the challenges were my biggest drive, and yeah, that was my biggest inspiration to get into this work.
That is amazing that you saw something that needed to be done in your own community, such as food security, and then you realized that you had to do something about that. So thank you so much for taking that initiative. And I know that gardening and planting is a little bit the work you do for conservation. And can you tell me more about your idea to plant 5 million trees in Uganda by 2030? How did that get started?
Yeah, so through my conservation work that my organization spearheads, I've gotten an opportunity to work across the country, especially training the communities and also working with the Peace Corps volunteers who are here with the US government. Of course, working with the Peace Corps as a trainee, and then later being identified as a very, very resourceful person to train the Peace Corps volunteers also gave me an upper hand to reach out to most of these other volunteers and their communities, plus some other organizations that needed support. So I have seen a big challenge of people not embracing conservation because they don't see a direct benefit, which is one way of enabling them to adapt to the changing climate. And so food security being the challenge, and also being the opportunity, the window of opportunity, where one would come in to teach these people how to fix the soil, feed the Mother Earth, and then feed themselves, feed the children, the mothers go in the garden, they work as a family, fix the garden, grow the vegetables, and do say no to malnutrition and food insecurity. So I saw an opportunity of having these people learn how to create a garden, but at the same time also plant some trees of value. So our dream of having over 100,000 people in Uganda, that includes men, women, and children. Of course, majority here are the young people. At least would teach them how to grow the vegetables, and then also they learn how they can grow some other fruit trees, because nutrition is not just about vegetables, it's fruits and vegetables, plus some other trees of medicinal value. So each of the 100,000 people, if they can plant 50 trees, then by 2030 we shall have 5 million trees planted. And for us, that's a very, very big win, because after that, we shall have to teach them on how we can add value to some of those things, on top of them being food secure.
Nkuzi, I'm so inspired by the work that you're doing. And most of all, I like how you see challenges as opportunities. I feel that many people will see a challenge and get discouraged, but you look at a challenge and you find something that needs to be done. And I think that's something that a lot of people can learn, and appreciate that from you. And as you know, I'm here in Orlando, and I know you have a lot of connections here in Orlando. How did they get started?
Yeah, so here we have an organization. It's a chapter of Ideas for Us. Ideas for Us is it is a US-based youth-founded organization. It's an environmental organization. It stands for Intellectual Decision on Environmental Awareness Solutions. So it was started by young people in the US. So they have chapters across Africa. And so I happened to connect with one of the directors, who is Christopher Stamper. And then I also got to receive a call from one of the founding members, the Uganda chapter. So when we met, I mentored them in conservation, and they have grown. They are doing amazing work. So we built ties, and community has kept growing. And hopefully, I think we have shared a lot of those friends in common. Though now, through the work we do, my network across the US, it has grown from Florida and Orlando. I'm very sure a couple of people whom you may even be knowing, friends like in common.
It's very amazing to see the network of people all over the world that are taking steps to take care of Mother Earth. You know, there's a lot of negative news on the media, but we have to look really at the people that are connecting with each other and working daily for conservation, for the animals, for food security, like you are doing. And Nkuzi,
I think right now we need to realize that as much as we're having this challenge of the pandemic, but also we need to all take some time and think about Mother Earth, where we all share everything that feeds us. We could still do something. There is always something we can do, however small the action may be. Even when you're home, you can think about your environment, the environment you're in. You can stop the water if you're blessed with the rain. Yeah, you can plant. You can create a balm. You can create just a small bed, a garden bed, and you can plant something. Healing Mother Earth is fixing the soil and planting something and feeding yourself. So when we all do that, even if you do it in a container garden, you can save the planet and we can save ourselves altogether.
those are very beautiful and inspiring words. I remember that you mentioned before that the world's biggest problems require the smallest possible actions that our committed persons can do to save Mother Earth. With that, could you leave us with one simple thing that people can do from home to help Mother Earth?
Yes, I think now that we are home, if you're if you're with a family, if there are some young children around, you can teach them something. You can teach them how to, if you have soil, teach them how to fix the soil. Teach them about compost. Teach them how the soil only needs our waste, organic. Teach them how they need to give back to Mother Earth. So the key lesson here is, if we heal Mother Earth, we save our lives. So let's fix the soil, capture the water, plant something. So that even during the time that you're having the difficult time, you still can be able to feed yourself from where you are.
Thank you so much, Nkuzi, for those words. And I agree with you 100%. We need to teach the next generation of the earth how to plant, how to have that connection with the well-being of our planet. And I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Frank.